And the country's recovery rate has increased to 93.94%. The weekly positivity rate currently stands at 6.21%, and the daily positivity rate is at 6.34%, and that's less than 10% off for the 14th consecutive day. And as many as 2,427 people have died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, 2,427 fatalities in the last 24 hours. And in the group of ministers meeting today, the Union Health Minister said that 18 more laboratories, they've been added to the INSA-CoG network.
We had established 10 national labs for the INSA-CoG, this sequencing facility. Now, till now, we have done some 30,000 sequencing, and recently we have added 18 more new labs to this national consortium. So now we have a total of 28 labs doing this genome sequencing.
Well, the Health Minister also said that there are currently 28,252 cases of mucormycosis or black fungus in the country. The Health Minister added that 86% of these patients have a history of COVID and 62.3% have a history of diabetes.
Mucormycosis, which is something which has been in the discussion for quite some time now, we have from 28 states some 28,252 cases till now, and out of this 86%, that is 24,370 cases, are having a history of COVID. 62.3% cases, that's about 17,601, are having history of diabetes. We have the maximum number of cases from Maharashtra. This is about 6,329, followed by Gujarat 5,486, and then of course MP, UP, Rajasthan, Haryana, Karnataka, Delhi and Andhra Pradesh.
Well, India has crossed a major landmark with the administration of more than 23 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine to beneficiaries so far. The Union Health Ministry confirmed that so far 23 crore 27 lakh 86,482 beneficiaries have been vaccinated thus far, out of which 18 crore 65 lakh 14,773 beneficiaries were given their first dose, and 4 crore 62 lakh 71,709 have been given their second doses. So the Union Health Ministry has informed that over 13 lakh 90,916 vaccine doses were given in the country in the last 24 hours, and of this, over 13 lakh 11,000 beneficiaries were vaccinated with the first dose, and around 80,000 beneficiaries received their second dose of the vaccine. We're talking about the last 24 hours as a period. Meanwhile, testing for COVID-19 has substantially been ramped up across the country. According to the ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, 15 lakh 87,589 samples were tested for COVID-19 yesterday, and a total of 36 crore 63 lakh 34,111 samples have been tested in the country till yesterday cumulatively. The screening of children for clinical trials of Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech and ICMR starts today at AIIMS in Delhi, and this is days after similar trials had commenced at AIIMS in Patna. The phase 2 and 3 trials are being conducted on children aged between 2 and 18 years of age. The center had given its clearance to the clinical trials on May 13th. The clinical trials of the COVID-19 vaccine made by Bharat Biotech are to ascertain whether they are suitable for children between the ages of 2 and 18. So the vaccine trial on children is ongoing at Patna AIIMS as well.
अभी जो है ये क्लिनिकल ट्रायल शुरू हुआ है, क्योंकि बच्चों के लिए हमारे पास सेफ्टी का कोई डेटा नहीं था, इम्यूनोजेनिसिटी का डेटा नहीं था, साइड इफेक्ट्स क्या होंगे इसका कोई डेटा नहीं था। तो ये जो ट्रायल्स हो रहे हैं वो बच्चों में इसी को देखने के लिए वैक्सीन सेफ है कि नहीं, वैक्सीन इफेक्टिव है कि नहीं, ये देखने के लिए ये ट्रायल्स हो रहे हैं। अभी जो है 12 साल से 18 साल के बच्चे इसमें सम्मिलित हो रहे हैं। ट्रायल जो है पूरे 6 to 9 मंथ का है ट्रायल कंप्लीट। डेटा जनरेट करने में, क्योंकि सिर्फ सेफ्टी ही नहीं देखना होता है, इम्यूनिसिटी भी देखनी होती है। 2 डोज का शेड्यूल है, 2 डोज लगने के बाद जो है जो इम्यूनिसिटी आएगी उस पर फिर कोई निर्णय लिया जा सकता है।
Eventually, end of the day, अभी नहीं तो अगले 2 साल में all of India has to get vaccinated if we want to move ahead with our lives. That's the only way out we have. We can't keep living at home. We have to get back out.
I would be probably the first one to get a vaccine in my age group. So it's a good thing and I am proud कि like मैं trials में जा रही हूँ, मुझे जल्दी से vaccine लग जाएगी. I will be vaccinated and I will be safe.
And now moving on to our National Prime segment. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, while virtually addressing the United Nations General Assembly special session on corruption, spelled out India's policy of zero tolerance for corruption.
India has a zero tolerance policy towards corruption. The motto of the government of India under Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is minimum government, maximum governance, with emphasis on transparency and citizen centricity. With the aim of decentralizing decision-making and bridging communities with local governments across cities and towns, innovative solutions are being implemented using digital tools in all sectors. India is already a digital-first trajectory with one of the highest volumes of digital transactions in the world.
And the minister also lauded the United Nations for holding such a session.
This is indeed the most appropriate time to come together for all of us and to strengthen the international cooperation to prevent and combat corruption. I welcome, therefore, the United Nations initiative to hold this special session of the General Assembly to give a worldwide political impetus to effectively address challenges and implement anti-corruption measures.
Well, the Supreme Court on Monday began hearing a suo motu cognizance case. This is involving the contagion of COVID-19 virus in children protection homes across the country and also the issue of rehabilitation of orphan children. A 2-judge bench of the Apex Court headed by Justice L. Nageshwara Rao and also comprising Justice Anirudh Bose started this hearing. Justice Rao said that the court has received an action taken report from the Union Women and Child Development Ministry. Amicus Curiae Gaurav Agarwal, assisting the Apex Court in the matter, said that the Union of India is also actively considering the issue and trying to solve the mortality rate among children and how it can help children orphaned during the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, the Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhati, senior counsel appearing for the centre, said that the mortality rate is still being looked at by the centre, and the centre also informed the Apex Court that the district magistrate has been made responsible to take care of orphaned and abandoned children during the COVID-19 pandemic. The centre submitted to the top court that it needed more time to work out the modalities as to how it will grant relief and financial assistance to children who've lost their parents in this pandemic. It also said that the consultation was ongoing with stakeholders for a mechanism for assistance under PM CARES Fund. The Prasar Bharati CEO Shashi Shekhar Vempati has condemned a tweet by former CEO of Prasar Bharati Jawahar Sircar in which he used a morphed image. Vempati has tweeted, and I quote, "Disgusting and shameful that a morphed image is being circulated in this manner. It is one thing to not like a person, but it is reprehensible that a former CEO of the public broadcaster and a former culture secretary is publicizing fake images. We are truly embarrassed by these actions." And in midday news now, it's time and up for updates from the world of business. And joining us now is Tanvi with more on the business news. Over to you, Tanvi.
Thank you, Mark. Well, after some volatility in early trade, the domestic stock markets have now posted good gains in afternoon deals on Monday. So the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange had gained 231 points or 0.4% to 52,331 a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange had added 87 points or 0.6% to 15,758. In the broader market, the BSE Mid Cap Index had gained 0.7% and the Small Cap Index had jumped 1.3%. Among the sectors, media, auto and realty stocks have seen strong buying interest. If we talk about the top index gainers so far, they are Adani Ports, Tata Motors, NTPC and Power Grid Corporation with gains of between 2.8 and 6%. The top index losers so far are Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, HDFC and Cipla with losses of between 0.5% and 4.5%. Meanwhile, sugar stocks have zoomed with several like Dharani Sugars, Shri Renuka Sugars and Rana Sugars hitting their 10% upper circuit limit. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had on Saturday advanced the country's target of 20% ethanol blending in petrol by 5 years to 2025 from 2030, a move that will help India cut its oil import bill and reduce carbon emissions. This decision has come as a major relief for sugar companies struggling with excess production and stagnant demand. Moving on. Most other key Asian markets were mixed on Monday as relief over a benign US jobs report was tempered by caution ahead of key US inflation data. And as the coronavirus outbreak in Taiwan also took a toll on chip markets. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan slipped 0.1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index fell 0.5%. Data out of Beijing showed that China's imports grew at their fastest pace in 10 years, fueled by surging demand for raw materials there. So China's key stock indices ended up mixed, but Japan's Nikkei 225 index edged up 0.3%, and South Korea's Kospi gained 0.4% to a record closing high. Back home.
Well, thanks very much, Tanvi, for those updates. And now let's shift focus to what's making news across the globe. In Israel, at a press conference on Sunday evening, the Change Bloc's Prime Minister-designate Naftali Bennett urged the Senate Speaker to convene the election on Wednesday to vote on the new government. He also appealed for a calmer discourse and beseeched the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to let go and not to leave scorched earth behind him. Earlier, Netanyahu had said that the newly formed Israeli coalition was the result of the greatest election fraud in the history of democracy. Netanyahu made his sweeping accusation at a time when Israel's domestic security chief had warned publicly about the prospect of political violence and focused his allegations on a campaign promise from Bennett. Netanyahu's tenure has been clouded by ongoing corruption trial in which he has denied any wrongdoing.